Networks don't talk about it. Government can't tax it. But sports betting is a $200 billion a year business.
That's a major U.S. Supreme Court ruling that could open the door for legalized sports betting all across the country.
The Supreme Court is giving the green light for states to determine on their own whether they want to legalize sports gambling.
Tell Donahue his next pick is good for 20 grand, but I need him to guarantee a win, okay? I need a lock.
He's not that fucking good.
No, Tommy, he has to. All right, he has to, or else they're going to kill me. Do you realize this, Tommy? They're going to fucking kill me. I can't afford to gamble anymore. I need a fucking lock.
And welcome in. It is November version of Lock Talk here, episode 16 of the season. Jake with you, O'Kane. Not alone this week. No Joey, but not alone. We'll get there in just a second. Before we do, a few things I want to make sure we plug before we get into the action. Maction. That's the thing I want to plug right now. Maction is about as hot as it could possibly be. I got 2 games going right now. So make sure that you're following on the Action app, on Twitter, X, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Other than that, we do have on the app for Lock Talk, the leaderboards are up. So make sure that you're interacting, doing your own picks, commenting, hammering, even telling people that you're going to get, fade them. It doesn't matter. You're going to climb those leaderboards quickly. Make sure you get on there. And that leads us to an introduction that I've been pretty excited about. I'm not going to lie. Not a new introduction to me. I've actually known the guy for years, but my boy Izik, a.k.a. I like to call him Props to Damas, in the house tonight. What up, Murph?
What up, bro? What up? How's it going, bro? I'm doing good.
Excited to have him on. Murphy is he is a prop connoisseur, man that really doesn't play a lot of the lines, but we'll have some good angles for us as we get into the NFL this weekend. Murphy, talk a little bit about what you like to bet, what kind of you zero in on, and how you started sports betting.
Honestly, I might have started sports betting from you, man. If I had to be honest, might have stemmed off of you.
Shocker.
No, but yeah, that's honestly, I don't know. I liked watching sports, and I kind of wanted a little more, having a little more fun to it. So, what's more fun than having a little bit of risk on the line for games that you never thought you'd watch or were mattered to you in your life now matter to you because you have money on them.
Exactly.
Like, why the fuck was I watching the Bears and Broncos game that one day? Oh yeah, because I needed Justin Fields to run for I don't know how many yards, but suddenly I care about the Bears game. So shit like that makes it more fun, more entertaining. So
and I love the way you said that because that's exactly how it is. You won't remember the prop that you bet. You'll just remember the shitty game that you had to watch.
Exactly.
And Murphy is he's a big NBA guy, and as you know, this podcast we don't believe the NBA starts until December 25th. So Murphy will be joining us as we do start talking NBA a little bit more after the new year. But this week he's going to help me break down NFL Week 11. Murphy, we are. I tweeted out today. We're 81 days from kickoff of college football week 0. We're 81 days till we kick the Super Bowl off. Football is halfway done, but we got a lot of football ahead.
It's crazy. Halfway done, but a lot to go. So
yeah, a ton to go. Week 11 for the NFL, week 12 for college football. We're actually going to hop into that one first. I know Murphy is similar to me. We don't bet a ton of college football with all the variants. It's very, very difficult. I know we're starting to dip into some props. Obviously, I bet the MAC almost exclusively at this point. Murphy, it's going to be a boring weekend. I'll say it. 4 matchups between ranked teams. I'm not pumped for Utah, Arizona, Kansas, Kansas State, or Georgia, Tennessee. None of those really move my needle. Are there any of those 3 games that, I know you're not a huge college football supporter that makes your meat wiggle at all?
No. So college football, yeah, I don't really see. I usually bet over unders or props on those. I actually just hit a 3-leg parlay last weekend on over unders. I have the ticket right here. I haven't even cashed
the birthday lay.
Yeah, I had Clemson, Yellow Jackets over 55, Oregon Beavers, Stanford 51.5, easy, and then Temple and South Florida under 71. So they all hit. Honestly, this week though, it's not looking too great. If I were to look at a game, it would probably be the Utah Arizona one. How I would bet it is I'd probably look for some sort of prop involving possibly passing yards. I do know, let me check here. Arizona has allowed quite a bit of passing.
I believe they're the second or third worst pass defense in what is a horrible pass defense conference.
Yeah, so I'm trying to find them here. Yeah, so I do know they are definitely one of the worst. They have allowed a lot of pass yards. So I'd probably be looking into the defenses, checking out. Yeah, right here. Yeah, they've allowed 2,353 pass yards. So I'd maybe look
It's a
into
lot of yards.
something like that. But I don't really. That's really all I look into is defensive matchups, shit like that.
Sure.
I don't really bet college too much. It's too volatile. You don't
Yes.
even know. Shit's crazy. Like I had Travis Hunter, dude. He needed 1 fantasy point last week, and he didn't even get it for me. And yeah, fucked me over.
Yeah, that's honestly, college is, you get so excited about it at the beginning of the season. You look into everything. You get excited about transfers. Nobody really knows.
You think you got all this shit on lock, like you're gonna
Yeah,
bet.
you feel really good about it, and then it
First
usually
week it's
takes
just
week 0. And if you don't get shit down your throat in week 0, I mean, it's going to happen in week 1. It seems to happen every year. Personally, looking at the schedule this weekend, I'm going to have my eyes locked on Duke. They're looking to finish out my 6.5 win future. They face UVA. It's a game they should win. They almost pulled off the upset against UNC last weekend. Excuse me, lost in double overtime. Ooh, that burp reminds me. Today's episode brought to you by Trade Water, Kentucky Straight bourbon whiskey. Good old 1792. So as always, if any of those bourbons want to sponsor the podcast, totally up for that. But anyways, back to college football. Like I said, Duke just needs one more win. They either get it against Virginia this week, and I think Pitt is next week. But my eyes are locked on Saturday night, Murphy. The game of the weekend, it's Michael Penix and the Huskies against Oregon State. They're half-point dogs, 2.5-point dogs. Penix has fallen behind Bo Nix now in the Heisman. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't sweating. For those that are new to this, I have a significant future on Michael Penix that would completely flip my entire college football season on its head. However, Bo Nix is really coming along. I don't think, the Heisman's not going to be decided this week. Bo Nix plays Arizona State. So, I mean, he could fucking dice them. I don't know. But it is big for Michael Penix because he plays Oregon State this week. Bo Nix plays them next week, and then they play each other in a rematch. So I'm pretty excited to see how the Pac-12 goes. And Cash Miami, that is 12-3 now in the MAC. Miami first half covers. We'll see if Rourke can put something together for me for Ohio. But anyways, back to Saturday. It's going to be interesting.
You were talking about the Tennessee-Georgia game, right?
Yeah, I was. Tennessee-Georgia is an interesting one. I don't think very highly of Tennessee. Actually, I've been
they're not that great. They have the 54th ranked pass offense, and I know Georgia is top 15 in pass defense.
And another thing that I love the fact you just brought that up almost put words in my mouth. Some things that I'm hearing about Tennessee, and when I say I hear things about Tennessee, it's Big Tennessee from Barstool, who's probably the most plugged in Tennessee fan there is. They're clamoring for Nico. They've got this kid that signed like the biggest NIL deal of all time that's currently sitting on their bench, and they can't make the SEC championship game anymore. Joe Milton, though, seems to have the entire team that he talked about. If they switched quarterbacks now, it'd be a mutiny. But Joe Milton has shown that he's not that good.
Yeah, no, their offense is a lot of the Jalen Wright and shit.
Dude, it needs to be. So I'm looking at, I'm actually going to look that up right now. I'm really happy that you brought that up. And again, Murphy coming in, that's why we brought him in, is because he's going to stroke our mind a little bit on the prop side of things. Because again, Joey and I don't bet a lot of props. People bitch about that because we're betting totals, spreads, money lines, which is, again, very hard. But Joey's been great this year, and I've been just about even. But if you're looking at props for Tennessee and Georgia, I've got it up right now. Passing yards wise, 210 yards, 210 and a half for Joe Milton is an
Okay.
interesting number. Now, if you don't like Joe Milton, you can definitely look at some receiver props. There's nobody really everybody's hovering right around that 50-yard mark. So if you do find a matchup with the Georgia secondary that you like, maybe you can exploit that. But there's definitely some opportunity in all of these games. I mean, that's the thing with college football. I mean, you look at a college football Saturday that's got 100 games. That means that we have, what, 10,000, 20,000 props? I mean, it's absolutely insane
It's
to where we're at. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. But yeah, I mean, that's Saturday. I'm not super excited about it.
looking at his recent games. It looks like the Georgia's gonna be the best pass defense he's played yet.
Oh yeah.
He did throw 271 yards against Alabama, but
that's okay. Bama's not Bama.
Bama's ranked 33 in pass yards allowed. So yeah, I mean,
I don't hate the look. I think the reasoning is there.
Under, he might get absolutely cooked and not do shit. So
he could get benched. I mean, it's
that too. And then
I don't think he's gonna get benched. But okay, Murphy. As much as we do love talking about college football, which we really don't, let's talk about what we actually like to talk about. It's the NFL. We are on to week 11. Like I talked about it, we are 81 days into football with 81 days left. But the large chunk of that is going to be the regular season as we get into it. So, I mean, this next, for those of you that like to just talk ball, Murphy and I do this on a regular basis. So if we go off on tangents, we go off on tangents. And there's a certain game on Sunday that we both have a emotional stake in that we're definitely going to talk about our team, and I'm definitely going to clip it, and we're definitely going to piss some people off. So before we get into that shit show that happens up on Lombardi Ave, we're going to talk about our Thursday night matchup. Murphy, we've already been talking about this game. You and I have been talking about this pretty much since, I think, probably even before Monday Night Football even ended last night. Bengals Ravens. This is about as good of a Thursday night matchup as I would like to see right now as it sits. And right now we're recording on Wednesday night about 7:30 Central. Cincinnati is catching 2.5. I grabbed him at 3.5. Murphy had opened at 4. A lot of money coming in on Cincinnati, some respected money that is. Or sorry, I take it back. I'm looking at opening line. Opened interesting. Open 2.5, bounced to 4. I don't know if that's a legit opening line. It is 3.5 right now, and it's actually teetering where it could change here shortly. Murphy, you talked about it with me earlier. You kind of like the Ravens in this spot. I'm kind of on the Bengals with the points.
So I wouldn't bet the Ravens money line just because it's almost negative 200. So
yeah, it's juicy.
I probably don't know if I would even touch a spread. If I were, it probably would be the Bengals 3.5.
Yeah, anytime you get outside a field goal, it feels a lot better.
Yeah, just because it is a primetime game, Joe Burrow primetime, Lamar primetime. I feel like it's going to be close rather than a blowout, which is what people want to see anyways. So hopefully it is close because sometimes those Thursday games can be snooze fest. So
they definitely can. And when I took Cincinnati, when I saw it outside of 3.5, I looked at the last few times they've played. You look at last time they played 27-24 Baltimore, 24-17 Cincinnati, 27-16 Cincinnati, 19-17 Baltimore, 41-21 Cincinnati. 5 times straight, Cincinnati has kept this thing within a field goal. They've only won 3 of those. To me, it's a lot of points. But Murphy, you talked about a prop earlier that I want you to get into out of the Baltimore backfield. And I'm going to pull up what the live line is because I'm sure since we've talked this afternoon that it's kind of shifted a little bit. That particular running back is Gus Edwards. His line is sitting at 45.5. Murphy, you kind of like that line, don't you?
I do like it. I do like it even more because when I saw it today, it started at 47.5. I'm pretty sure.
And it depends. I mean, 45.5 is the best on the market right now. You're looking 44.5 FanDuel, New Jersey. So 48.5 if you're at Bet Rivers. So definitely shop your props. We can't say that enough on this program. But Murphy, get into a little bit of Gus Edwards here.
So I would say anything 49.5 would be safe. Reason being, we got Bengals. They've allowed 1,226 rushing yards this season. That's the 7th most in the league. They're hanging with teams like the Jets, the Colts, the Giants, the Raiders, such like that. Gus Edwards, last time they played the Bengals, that was this year, he had 10 carries for 62 yards. So that's only 10 carries.
But 6.2 is that's good work.
I did notice that also the Bengals allow the 2nd most yards per carry. So if he were to get 10 carries, there's a chance that he is able to extend those based on Bengals allowing the 2nd most. First most is the Broncos at 5.6. Bengals allow 5 yards a carry.
I love that because I mean, not to cut you off, but I mean the number one thing that people worry about when they're betting running back props is volume. And with a guy that averages, pretty good yards per carry against a defense that gets gashed when it comes to yards per carry, I'm actually opening my book right now to see what his line's at.
Well, that's why I would say 49.5, because technically based on this math, I mean, the Ravens have a pretty decent O-line too overall. So you say he has 10 carries, he does 5 yards a carry, that's 50 yards, he covers. That's to say he doesn't break one for 10 yards, 15 yards, or even breaks one where he covers the whole line. I personally think there's a chance that based on the explosiveness we saw from him on a good Browns defense, there's a chance that in prime time, Gus Edwards could break this line in one play.
Dude, is Vegas listening? My line just went from 47 to 43.5. And now that is a full unit play at even money instead of a half unit play. What? 43. I just got 43.5. It live changed as I was betting it.
Okay.
And I got it at even money. Murphy, you sold me on it, brother. I love that line. I love the look. I personally, for those of you that listen to this podcast, have not been high on the Bengals. I banned them early this year.
Yeah. They haven't shown me enough to give them a lot of faith and confidence too. So I think they can definitely allow a big play to happen, which there's a high chance that it would be Gus Edwards. I mean, the dude did have like a 60-yard catch on the Browns. So, I mean, in reality, if you're nervous about the rushing overall, you could take rushing and receiving on the odd chance that he does possibly bust another big catch. But I would stick with the rushing personally. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like the angle a lot, and especially Thursday night. It's always good to get multiple angles. Also, I'll plug another thing. Thursday night, make sure you take a look at my Twitter feed. I post all of the 20% plus EV positive bets available on Bet Openly. For those of you that have been tailing this year, if you're a $100 unit better, you're up a cool $730. So very, very easy. It is tough sometimes to get your bets filled. That's something that I've ran into a few times last week as people are cooling off on that. But let's move to Sunday. Murphy, I talked to you before, and I said I think I can pick out the games that people are going to be betting. This is one that I think people are going to be all over it. It's Houston, Arizona. Houston laying 5 at home. I'm inclined to like Houston, but because of where the public's at, I'm probably going to end up taking Arizona, especially if this thing gets to 6.
Yeah, man, I would probably, if I were to go here, I would look at 5 or 6 Arizona. Honestly, Kyler Murray showed a little bit of promise last game. I mean, it is the Cardinals still. They don't have the craziest squad overall. He doesn't have crazy receivers around him. But I don't know if you saw that run he had where he
Dude, he went straight. He broke every rule that they teach you in quarterback school. Turned his back to the line, turned his head to the line.
And that's literally
that's the thing you get with Kyler Murray that you never were going to get with any backup that you brought in there. Josh Dobbs, God bless him. Maybe he's smarter, but he's not going to make those plays. For me, I actually picked Kyler has been sitting on my IR for my sleeper league with all the guys that and with Deshaun Watson news today, I now am led by K1. So we'll see how that season goes. Looking at some trends in this one, as everybody knows, I love to rattle these off. I forgot to do it for Thursday Night Football, but that's okay. Arizona 2-5 against the spread in their last 7 games. Total has gone over in 6 of their last 9. They're 2-17 straight up in their last 17 games. 0-6 against their last 6 in the AFC. Flip it on the other side. Houston 5-2 against the spread in their last 7. Total's gone under in 4 of 6. Interesting one here. Houston is 4-15-1 straight up in their last 20 games at home. I would say there's 0 home field advantage here. Injury-wise, you've got a bunch of guys on the IR, really no question marks. We saw last week that K1 is back, obviously. Connor back in the backfield, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Holy shit. If you have a chance to look at the Houston injury report, I hope you bring your glasses. That's going to be a long list. But I don't want to talk too much about that game.
Oh, man.
Let's talk about the next shitty game because the Bears are on the road, Murphy, against the Lions. I believe Justin Fields is not technically back. I don't know the latest. He's upgraded to probable, so I guess I'm going to say he's back. Plus 7.5. There's no way T-Bag is getting 7.5 on the road against the Lions. I don't hate Chicago in this spot. Chicago has shown some things. I don't want to say they've rallied, but Chicago and the under are 2 things that I look at in this game. But I personally, until I know exactly what Justin Fields is up to, I don't see anything like that happening.
Yeah, I don't see anything like that happening either. I don't even know if I would even touch this game in any sort of way. And if I were, it would probably be betting against the Bears versus the Lions defense, some sort of under. But they don't even have prop lines really out for it yet. So
No, yeah, this is a tough one for you. I know Wednesdays, not a lot of prop lines, but we'll figure something out. I think maybe we'll do some
the
Friday prop stuff.
under points.
The under is what I thought. The under and Chicago plus the points. I almost thought you could, and I hate teasing the same game, but you could tease that and I would feel pretty comfortable at like 16 or well, not 16, 13.5 and whatever. But looking at some trends in this one, Chicago 4-13-1 against the spread in their last 18 games. Under has hit in 4 of their last 5. Good to keep note of. Bears are 1-5 against the spread in their last 5 against Detroit. Detroit 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 games. They're on a tear. The over is hit in 4 of 6. It should be interesting. 8-1 against the spread in their last 9 home games. That's
might take
something
Lions
worth noting.
-8.
You're seeing -8 now?
Well, after you bring up all those, it kind of sounds like the Lions might smoke them because I don't have that much.
It's hard to and that's why I think Justin Fields has to be playing because 7.5 is ridiculous. Obviously, I look at Justin Fields and I know guys have power ranking. Justin Fields to me, and I don't have an official power ranking, but to me, he's like a 1.5. I mean, he gives you a 1.5 versus Tyson Bagent. I mean, Bagent has showed that he can be serviceable, and Justin Fields has shown that sometimes he can't. So for me, it's not a game that I want to bet either. I think we're both kind of in agreement that we're a little just kind of tired of the Chicago narrative. Let's talk about again, equally not as exciting game. The Cowboys on the road against the Carolina Panthers are laying 10.5. Murphy, I would lay this number up to 20.
All right. What game? The Panthers game?
Panthers game against Dallas. I think Dallas is going to try to
oh man,
embarrass them. They're playing like it's the BCS. They're playing like they have something to prove.
Dallas smokes horrible teams. So
that's just what they do. They beat bad teams and they beat them horridly. I mean, you look at this, and it's funny because a lot of it happens at home. Dallas is 4-0 against the spread at home. They're only 2-3 on the road, but the over is one that I got to look at because I don't think Dallas's defense. I don't think very highly of them. Yeah. They faced our boy DeVito last week. Another person that I don't think highly of. and they went over the total. I had the under in that game. So in this one, I think, can the number 1 draft pick put up some points at home? Why not? Why
Yeah,
not?
he can put up some points, and then he just need the Cowboys to throw up.
Well, and the Cowboys are a team, like we said, they
They
want to
could go
blow
crazy.
people
So,
out.
I mean,
They're
Cowboys
gonna-
could end up covering this by themselves if they really absolutely went stupid like they did against the Giants twice.
Dave, I believe so I was going to actually look at that. If you look, they've done that once, twice, 3, almost 4 times this year. They've covered that total on their own. So yeah, I mean, it's a game where if I'm going to play anything, I'm probably going to play the over.
Yeah, I would
because
bank
Dallas,
on that.
Dallas defense hasn't shown me shit.
I would bank on like 34 from Dallas and like at least 14 from the Panthers.
I think 34-14 is a perfect score. You look at Dallas's games that they've had recently, 49-17, 23-28, 40. This one here against the Rams, 43-20. That's exactly the kind of game that I see here. They've gone over, under, over. I mean, 4 out of their last 5. I think both of us are in agreement that we got to take a look at that under. The nice thing too, it's Carolina. The weather's going to be decent. It won't be that bad in November. So I think both of us are on the same page as far as that game goes. Let's talk this one. This is an interesting one to me because Izik, the Raiders are 5-5.
Yeah, they suddenly have some life after the coach is gone.
Yeah, you fire the coach. Maybe our boys could figure that out.
They got him at plus 13.5. Holy shit.
It's bad. Well, and the reason it's bad, I mean, I think, let me take a look here.
I think the first thing I look at here is I look at the Raiders' shitty rush defense, and I'm going to find a way to get Mostert involved here because he might break a big one.
I agree. I think Mostert is definitely somebody that could do it. I know they've got – so this is the only thing I would say on that is A-Chain is actually questionable on Sunday. The running back that's been out for a while with a knee. That's also AKA the fastest running back in the league. That is the only thing that would hold me back.
The thing about it is that one game they both scored 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, see that's the thing is when
they both can just go crazy.
When it's at its absolute
So what I would see is maybe Miami taking a early lead and starting to run the ball a lot more just to try to burn some clock, and that would give opportunities to
Murphy. I'm gonna make you horny right now.
What?
And buddy, you keep bringing up the right props. I don't know if you're doing it on purpose. I'd love to give you the credit in saying that you're doing it, but listen to this. You're gonna love this. Vegas defense against the run. Last few games, 108, 123, 222, 173, 83, 110, 155, 105, 183.
Oh yes. They've allowed 1,356 yards on the
That's a
ground.
terrific season. That's a Pro Bowl, borderline all pro season. And we are we're in week 11.
And Mostert, and we know Mostert is definitely
that's second most. Who has the most?
Broncos have allowed the most at 1,425.
Oh, well, I mean, shit, we just talked about it. How much of that was the fucking Miami game?
Yeah.
Well, shit, yeah, Vegas hasn't played Miami yet, so that's not fair. I guess we can't really judge it until Vegas.
We know Mostert is fast. We know he's capable of the big play. We know the Raiders suck on run defense. I think Mostert is very capable of covering his rush yards in one play, as well as that Gus Edwards and shit.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. Again, that's another one. Let's keep Mostert in the chamber.
And like I said too, if you are nervous about just rush yards, you can always throw in the receiving and rush on top of it, just in case he does bust out a big pass catch, because that shit does happen too.
It is the perfect offense for that. I will 100% agree with you there. Moving on from Las Vegas to Los Angeles. Actually, it's not Los Angeles. Murphy, it's time. Brother, it is time. Let's talk about it. Our Green Bay Packers are 3-6.
Oof.
They are catching 3 points at home. Now it's 3 points at home minus 104, which leads me to believe that line is going to move. Whether it moves inside, outside, 3 is, in my opinion, actually pretty important. Izik, where are we right now as a franchise? Because I don't know. I wanted to blame Love. I can't blame him anymore. He actually looks serviceable. It's all the other fucking pieces.
He looks serviceable, needs more consistency. I mean, first half of the last game, he threw like 70 yards and a touchdown. Second half, he threw 200 and some yards, but 2 interceptions, and one lost us the game. So you just got to be a little more consistent. Now imagine if he flipped that line, 2 TDs, 200 touchdowns in the second half.
Yeah.
Then we got a guy, but he
well,
is
the
going to
problem
take
with it
time.
is-
He's young.
The problem I see is you can't end games, one score games, pick. The last two drives. I mean, you go pick the last two drives, it's game over, and that sucks. But I mean, there are a few things that I can point out. Obviously, probably the low hanging fruit right now is Christian Watson.
Yeah.
I don't want
I
to
actually have a
blame Christian
stat.
Watson. Oh boy.
I actually have a disgusting Christian Watson
Is it
stat. So he has
the
caught
amount of catches per target?
just caught 42% of his targets.
Oh,
this
you
year.
fucker. I knew
The
exactly.
lowest catch rate among the 126 players with
I
at
was gonna
least
say
30
100.
targets.
Shout out Aaron Nagler for that one. I saw that the other day.
Yeah, so he just isn't that guy anymore, and it's the injuries. Every play he's involved in, he grabs his hamstring, his something's hurt. I've seen it firsthand. I was at the game, Rams game. He caught that big pass. He got up, hurt. So it's like he just can't stay healthy, and that's just his decline. He had crazy second half of last year, and then he just can't keep. What is it? The hamstring that's burning him.
It's a hamstring. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
so-
all these fast guys, man. They get the hamstring that nags, and you never hear. It's like a back injury. You never hear of the guy that used to have a hamstring injury. It's the guy that has a nagging hamstring.
Yeah.
And with him, that sucks. The two plays that I think of is Aaron Jones dropping the ball, and then Aaron Jones going down in bounds instead of trying to get out of bounds, and we lose 16 seconds.
Yeah, that too.
And you really just milk the clock at the end of the game. Murphy, I don't think the players are my problem. The problem for me, and I tweeted it out on Sunday, and I was a little bit tipsy turvy on Sunday after the game was done. We had a nice little get together, but I think I can stand on this take. Why does our team treat everything like it's 12U Little League?
Yeah.
You want to, something bad happens and you see fucking Alvin Jones or whatever the fuck his brother's name is immediately take to Twitter, or Christian Watson's mom or Christian Watson's brother. It's like, why do I need to why is the first thing that pops into my mind when something bad happens on my football team, a national football team, a historical team like the Green Bay Packers, where, I mean, I can't say how serious it is, and we've gotten so unserious in the fact that I think the first thing I think of is, oh, I wonder what his parents or brother or cousin or whatever the fuck they're going to say on Twitter. I mean, it's annoying, and they say, oh, we're here to defend him because he can't defend himself. He doesn't have to defend himself. He's a multimillionaire football player.
Exactly.
Paid to play a game. He doesn't need you to defend him. And because, oh, well, he can't defend himself. Well, maybe he should just get some thick skin. Because I'll tell you what, Packer fans, they're not Philly fans. If Christian Watson was drafted this high in Philly, we saw what happened when a Philly wide receiver gets drafted high and it doesn't pan out.
Oh, man.
We get ran the fuck out of town. We're not running Christian Watson out of town. We're just looking for some accountability. He's not the guy that's making big plays at the end of games. You know, he's there. He's not there. He's sometimes healthy. He's not. And obviously, I don't want to nag a guy because he can't stay healthy. I don't know the background on it. We both have been injured in our lives. We both played sports. It's not always black and white as to when you can come back. But at some point, when you're drafted this high and we gave up this much to go get you, yeah, we expect a little bit of accountability, and it sucks. And I hate it. I hate the fact that I have to talk about our top receiver and our top running backs family reacting on Twitter, but I needed to get that out of my system. I put it on Twitter. I just needed to get it out vocally, but Murphy, you can go off now. I mean, I know you feel very much the same way.
Yeah, no, it's annoying. I mean, thing is too, this team has had, a run for how long? All these teams are going to hit this stage eventually. We're young now. I mean, a lot of Joe Barry, man.
Shout out.
The JB drive to whatever, but that's probably why the defense scheme is outdated, or I don't know.
For those of you that don't know what Murphy just said, and if you don't follow me on Twitter, actually, I didn't really post it on Twitter. So if you're hearing it here, you're hearing it kind of as an exclusive. I went up to the UP of Michigan where they have legalized marijuana. And for the back 25% of my trip, all the way to the dispensary, I was behind a Ram TRX, all whited out with a Green Bay Packer license plate that says JB. We don't have any JB players. We have a JB defensive coordinator. I pulled up next to it. It was an older white guy. I could not have laughed any harder, especially being where I was. But yes, that's what Murphy meant. But Murphy, go ahead back to, bitching about the Packers. I mean, do we even bother? Are they worth it at this point?
No, not really, to be honest. They're kind of a disappointment, but also we kind of should have expected that coming in.
Right. We are entitled town. We're not title town. We are entitled town. Murphy, we were both born in the mid to late 90s. I mean, all we've known is Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Exactly.
This was going to come at some point. I do think you and I are probably two of the more realistic fans that kind of saw this coming, but we're excited when things look different at the beginning of the season. And yeah, it's a little disappointing now that things change. But I also don't think at the same time, can we go back to the game? No reason the Chargers should be getting 3 points here. The Chargers are not a good football team. But
ooh, yes, you are.
I'm not betting on the Packers against the Packers. I don't think I'll touch that one with a 10-foot pole. And I'll just wake up in the morning, drink on Sunday, and just treat it like every other Sunday. And maybe we win, maybe we don't. We probably don't. Even if we do, we're only 4-6. So enough about the Green Bay Packers.
See the thing. Well, I was gonna say there's one more interesting thing about the Chargers game is the Chargers have the second most passing yards allowed in the league with 26.
Oh, Jordan Love's about to just save
yards.
Fucking life.
So, if you're looking for a prop, I would snag a Jordan Love passing prop. Another good prop is Wicks receiving yards. So usually you can find Wicks around 12 to 17 yards. He's covered that the last 4 to 5 games. Seems like he's getting a lot more targets and volume because Love's just getting more trust from other guys because Watson isn't doing it. So he's got to find someone else that's going to be able to do it. So Reed and Wicks, not going to lie, last game they stepped up. They look good. So if they're going to be the ones to come in and take the place of Watson, then that's fine. I hope they can stay healthy, and that's that. But yeah,
I love it. Yeah, that's enough. That's enough Packer talk. Let's move along. On Sunday, we talked about this gentleman earlier, Tommy DeVito, the Giants and the Commanders. Giants are catching 9 on the road. I don't know if I can lay 9 with Sam Howell. I probably could because it's DeVito on the other end, but something about laying 9 with Washington right now just doesn't quite sit right with me. I mean, you're looking at it as far as this season, Washington has not covered at home. They're 5-1 against the spread on the road. They have not covered at home. Riddle me that. This is a goofy game. The Giants are 2-8-1 against the spread in their last. They've covered twice this year. Good Lord. I mean, this game stinks.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And it's got a big spread.
If I were to bet it, it would, of course, probably be a prop. And the prop I would look at, it's kind of funny, is I would take DeVito's over on yards. The reason is why is Commanders' secondary is horrible. Behind the Chargers, who was the second most yards allowed, you have the Commanders at number 1 with 2,643 yards allowed and 21 touchdowns. So their secondary is absolutely horrible. So 158 yards. I mean, if this guy's an NFL quarterback, you should be able to get 158 yards on the worst pass defense in the league. If not, then I will never touch DeVito again. But I honestly think he should be able to at least throw 200 against fucking the Commanders, at least.
Not to mention, you just traded away your 2 pass rush ends. Like you got
that too. So
you got rid of both of your ends, and I like the look. DeVito,
his yards are really low. So I mean,
betting on DeVito, I'll let you do that on your own.
I probably won't do it, but that's the most interesting look just based on how bad the Commanders secondary is, honestly.
No, I agree. Moving along, Izik, we had some fucking crazy news come out today out of Cleveland. Deshaun Watson's season is over. As quickly as the Browns came in as what? Deshaun Watson, they're 6-3. And now you go to DTR? I mean, what in the fuck is that for Cleveland? Pittsburgh, they've been outgained in every single game this season, and they're 6-3 as well.
Unreal.
It makes absolutely no sense to me. These teams against the spread, Pittsburgh's covered, they're 6-3 against the spread. However, Cleveland 4-1 at home against the spread. Interesting here, though. And it's the one that I'm going to be looking at. It's the under. How do you not look at the under? This one is going to be ugly. The over-under, Izik, it is an NFL record. 32 points.
What?
The over-under
I
is
see it now.
NFL record at 32 points. Cleveland overs have not hit yet. Ooh, Rourke touchdown. Cleveland has not hit an over at home yet. They've hit an over in every single away game, which is very odd. But also Pittsburgh has not hit an over on the road. Combined, they're 0-8.
Okay, so you're thinking under here.
I'm thinking it's got to go under. I'm not betting DTR.
Yeah, I do agree with you.
Philip Walker, not DTR. I apologize.
I do agree with you because one, we know Pittsburgh's offense isn't that crazy. Pickett isn't that crazy. And two, we know Brown's defense is crazy. And we know Brown's offense probably ain't going to do much either. So, I mean, I could see the under here based on a big defensive matchup.
It's a historical number. I'd be hard-pressed to find anything that's ever gone. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous. But, we'll leave it at that. 32. What a total.
Yeah, that is pretty insane.
Speaking of totals, one that I think may go over this weekend, and it's only sitting at 40, Jacksonville and the Titans. Tennessee, Will Levis-led Tennessee Titans looked ugly last week. They got kind of fucked up by Tampa Bay, 20-6. I don't like that. I don't like where Tennessee's headed right now. I also don't really care for Jacksonville giving up 34 points to Brock Purdy and the Niners last weekend. I do think Jacksonville bounces back. I actually have a few sharp guys that I know that really like Jacksonville laying 6.5, anything inside of a touchdown. Personally, I've got my future on Jacksonville over 10.5, so I don't feel the need to push it. Murphy, anything in this game that catches your eye?
Let's see here. Tennessee, Jacksonville. Honestly, not at this current time. However,
it's an ugly game.
It is an ugly game. You did say Jacksonville just got scored on tons last game. Who was it? Who did they play again?
Fucking Niners hung 34 on them.
Okay, yeah, it was like 34-3, wasn't it?
Yep.
Oh man.
See, and it was crazy because it's not like, they gave up 293 passing yards, 144 rushing yards. It wasn't anything insane that they gave up, but Jacksonville's inability to move the ball on offense is very odd to me. They looked like they figured everything out. Dude, they won 5 and covered 5 straight. It just, you got to bounce back. You bounce back against a rookie at home.
Yeah.
think Jacksonville's got a crazy home field advantage. It's going to be interesting. I would lean Jacksonville maybe in a teaser as well. Maybe you tease Jacksonville down to a considerable spot. But let's
That
talk
would
about the
probably
team
be
that Tennessee played last week. An interesting one here, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, San Francisco 49ers, the Bucs catching 11.5, one of the many teams that is catching double digits this weekend. I don't think there's any reason San Francisco doesn't cover 11.5. I don't think very highly of the Bucs. I don't think they put together two great games in a row. Granted, they did come back against Central Michigan is going to keep this a game. I need it. Perfect. Oh, James Madison got denied their request for a postseason waiver. They're fucking 10-0 in their second season in the FBS. What a joke. What a joke. Anyways, Tampa Bay, San Francisco. In this one, I lean San Francisco. I think Tampa lays an egg. Baker, I don't think highly of Baker anymore. I was a Baker believer for a long time. I'm now just a Brock Purdy truther. I don't think he's like a top 3 quarterback, but he's probably a top 5 quarterback. I hate to say that, but it's probably true. I don't care what system you play in. You play in the system you play in, and right now he's playing a really good system. So any thoughts on the Niners-Bucks game at all?
Yeah, I don't think the Bucks are is good or good at all. I like you said, I was a Baker believer in the beginning, and just doesn't seem like he's gonna be the guy for anyone. So I would probably lean based on seeing how bad the 49ers smoked the Jags on was that on the road?
No, that was in San Fran.
That was in San Fran. I'd probably lean towards San Fran demolishing Buccaneers.
I have a hard time laying 10 plus
But
in the NFL.
I see 12 here on mine, so I don't think I would touch 12.
I mean, that's so
big
many
number.
points. That's a lot of points. Another game that's got a lot of points. We'll talk about it next. Buffalo's laying 7 against the Jets at home. What the fuck has Buffalo shown to be a 7-point favorite against this Jets team?
Nothing at all.
That's what I have to say. I think Buffalo is flat bad, which is insane to me. They have lost 3 of 4 their losses. You lose to Denver, you lose to Cincinnati, and you lose to New England. I mean, obviously, Cincy's a good team, but New England and Denver, I would say are, people up until last week were saying those are 2 of the bottom 4 teams. You barely snuck a win against the Giants. Don't act like we forgot about that game. And you beat Tampa by 6. I mean, where is Buffalo right now? They're 5-5. I mean, you're far from out of it. But I mean, nothing they've showed me lately is going to make me bet on them. I would say, what's the total? Total was right around 39. If I was to bet anything, I would bet the over. I think Buffalo, they are a team that has played. They scored. They played New York earlier this year. That was the Aaron Rodgers game. People forget that these teams played each other. Rodgers blew his Achilles. It was 16-12. Buffalo stunk. I don't think, and now they did this thing where they fire Ken Dorsey, which is the perfect thing where you fire the offensive coordinator because things aren't going well. Yeah, I don't think he's the problem. Ken Dorsey doesn't throw interceptions. I do think Josh does clean it up. I don't hate the over. I don't know why I just keep thinking over in this game.
Yeah, I think the Bills have something to prove.
I think you're right there. I think that's exactly probably what you just said is probably how I feel. I just can't.
They need to show that they're still a good team. Otherwise, if they lose this game, then there's going to be a lot of chatter about the Bills
I think who's their coach? McDermott loses his job.
Yeah, so I think we got to bank on Josh Allen, possible legacy game here.
Ooh, Josh Allen legacy game. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. Let me pull up the props because I know you may not be able to see them all yet, but I have a little birdie here that can show me the early lines. Let me pull this up because I do like the idea of a Josh Allen. All right, even though this is probably not true at all, because again, I think we both feel the same thing about the Dorsey firing. That's a scapegoat fire. You had to fire somebody. I mean,
Yeah, you had to make it look like you were
can't,
doing something.
you can't fire the fucking special teams coordinator. You got to fire the guy that loses. I mean, we both watched it. I don't know how many times we shared it with each other as the video of him losing his goddamn mind in the booth, where he's like fucking throwing shit all over
Yeah,
and
yeah.
being an absolute lunatic. All right, perfect. I've got the props for this game. Let's run through Josh Allen props because Murphy, you have me in on a Josh Allen legacy game.
Well, the first one I would think of is he's hit rushing touchdown, I think, in the last 5 or 6 games. So
Josh Allen anytime touchdown plus 140. Guess who the cheapest, or not cheapest, but I guess most expensive odds for anytime touchdown score? Guess.
McCaffrey.
No, in the Jets Bills.
Oh. Okay, I thought you meant
Not the whole
I was like, Jets Bills.
Yes.
Anytime, dude. I don't know.
It's fucking Diggs.
I was
Plus
gonna
120.
think Diggs.
Plus 120. That's crazy. So that's anytime touchdown score. So if you want to go beyond that, rushing yards hasn't come out yet. If you want Josh Allen to be first touchdown scorer, it's plus 700. His pass yards, 245 and a half. That's going to be hard. The Jets do have a really fucking good defense. Passing touchdowns, this is the one right here. Over 1.5 touchdowns is almost even money.
There you go.
That's the fucking one. And then they get into here's where you get. So this is your ladder. 275 plus is plus 140. 300 yards is plus 265. Plus 325 is plus 500. So if you think you can get 325 passing yards, 5-1. And then if he can somehow squeak his way to 350, it is 9-1 plus 900.
Okay, so maybe he'll go. So I mean, Jets do have the third in passing yards allowed, like least allowed. They're like 15, 20.
Yeah, no, we talk about like him having a legacy game. Let's not beat around the bush. The Jets defense,
yeah, nuts. So he's gonna have to actually go nuts. So I think he's capable of it. Like I said, he's got to prove something. The Bills do not look good right now, and people are losing hope on him. So it's honestly a big win against the Jets would be a way to set off the second leg of the year for them. Is what they need.
it's so fucked up. It's only like the second leg of the year.
They're so bad.
Oh, dude. Well, see, that's the thing is like you're so bad as the Bills, but you're 5-5. I mean, 5-5 is about as open of a canvas as you can ask for. I would say one thing about that game. Ooh, my Curtis Rourke is closing in on his passing yards. If I sweep the fucking Mac this week, I am the Mac King. Anyways, let's move along in the NFL because actually this is a game that I'm interested in because I don't get the line, Murphy. Seattle is laying a point at the Rams. Why? Why only a point? Why I mean, what am I missing? What am I missing? Tell me what I'm missing, Murphy.
What's the injury report look like here?
Injury report's not anything crazy. I mean, the Rams, Stafford is probable. So obviously Stafford didn't play against the Packers. They got shit on. But Stafford has played most of the year. Stafford played the Dallas game. It was 43-20. They lost 24-17 to Pittsburgh, who we've talked about has been outgained in every single game they've played. So it's not like there's a crazy injury log. Right now, Tyler Lockett did leave last game. He's questionable. It's an undisclosed injury, which is very weird. I don't know how often I see that on the injury report. That's kind of sus. I don't know about you, but
It is
I
weird.
look at the Rams. This is a team that lost the last game by 17, the game before that by 23, game before that by a touchdown. Game before that, you played Arizona. Congratulations. I think you beat Clayton Tune. And then you beat Philly or lost to Philly by almost 10 points. So
-1
I'm not
looks
high.
pretty
I
good here.
like Seattle. I'm a big fan of Seattle in this one. I've probably tailed Seattle harder than I should have this year. Right now, I would say Seattle is a point underdog. I would play them anything inside of 3, which if you have to bet Seattle -2, if the line got that bad, shame on you. But Murphy, I like Seattle.
Yeah, I would take Seattle -1 right now, to be honest.
Yeah, it feels like a really good spot. Looking at some prop opportunities for you as I'm using the OddsShark Edge Finder. They really don't find a huge edge in a lot of things. The one thing, LA Rams, they do tend to pass the ball, or sorry, give up passing a little bit better. It'll be interesting. I don't know the Rams. They're a team where they were bad last year, and they're bad again this year. And they have a lot of good players. You obviously got Aaron Donald, you got Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, Super Bowl winning Heisman quarterback. Who could, yeah, right. Who now?
What I got, Higby.
It's hard to, is this team, when do they lose motivation? Because like you can lose motivation and then teams can give up because you didn't make the playoffs last year and you looked like shit and you are 3-6. If you're 3-7, it's over. So I personally, I think it is a must win for the Rams, which actually makes me feel even better about Seattle. Seattle is going to travel like crazy. There are going to be so many fucking Seattle fans at this game. It's going to be absolutely insane. They're going to own SoFi. I like Seattle. It's going to be the last game on Sunday afternoon. But yeah, I think we're both kind of leaning towards the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I would take Seattle here.
A game next that we both have already talked about and we both have an opinion on. Murphy, the Minnesota Vikings, 2.5-point dogs against the Denver Broncos. This one, we both like. I've been dobbsed. I think that's the adjective that we're rolling with multiple times this year. And I'm not getting dobbsed again. I'm taking him. I'm going to take Minnesota on Sunday night. This is a gut play. It's not a, because you can't say it's statistical. I mean, you'd be lying if you told anybody it's statistical because Josh Dobbs defies all statistics. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. To me, this is a game where you bet with your gut. It's like when I bet Vegas last week against the Jets. It's a gut bet. I like Minnesota. Murphy, are you with me here? Is Minnesota?
I would hammer Minnesota money line for sure. Especially seeing Josh Dobbs. I mean, he looks good in the offense. I don't know, and I don't have much faith in the team they're playing. So, I mean, they got to cool down some point. I mean, those wins might be a little fraudulent.
Yeah, I agree. It's a tough thing. The Broncos have not beat the Broncos. The problem with the Broncos is you're overachieving. Buffalo, Kansas City, Green Bay. You look at those 3 wins in previous seasons, and you're like, holy shit, this team is on a run of all runs. In reality, you beat probably one playoff team, and you beat them on the road in a game where their quarterback had the flu. And there's just a whole lot of stuff that is not really known about Denver yet. Has Russ been revived? Maybe. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, Minnesota's covered 5 straight. They've also covered 6 straight on the road. So I like Minnesota. Josh Dobbs seems to have brought a little bit of a revitalization to this franchise. And honestly, Murphy, for as much as I'm a Packer fan, I don't root for Josh Dobbs, but I'm probably not going to root actively against him.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, he comes in and he has that crazy game. He sparks the Vikings. Got to give him a little bit of props.
Mm-hmm.
How many guys can do that? You got to look at this too. I was just looking at it. I was seeing if Justin Jefferson was going to be back, and it looks like he's going to sit out one more week.
Yep, one more left. I have him sitting on the IR in fantasy.
Same. I need to activate that beast.
No shit. Well, it's funny. So obviously the Vikings have gone through, I mean, I would say the most insane turnaround in the NFL. You start the season 1-4 and you rip off 5 straight wins. Murphy, when he went down, I made a claim that the Minnesota Vikings are a better team without Justin Jefferson. And the reason I feel that way, Murphy, he demands the ball too much.
Yeah.
In an offense where you have other guys, Hawkinson, Addison, Osborne has been better. Madison. I mean, I don't think if you're the Minnesota Vikings, and obviously you don't do this, but what could you get trade-wise for a Justin Jefferson? Because if I've learned anything this year, he does not increase my team stock nearly as much as I thought he did. Nearly as much. Because if the Vikings without Kirk Cousins and without Justin Jefferson can win games, but when they're together, they can't.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to do the math, and they can actually check it out with a rocket scientist because their new quarterback is one. He's not a fucking Kohl's Cash shopaholic weirdo that has a torn Achilles and is like 34, 35 years old. So the Vikings, if you're the Vikings, you're in a really good spot right now. You have a lot of good things on the horizon. Obviously, you and I don't love that, but
Yeah, no.
I think we could both be on the record for that. Let's talk about the game of the week, Murphy. Game of the week comes on Monday. We should get together for this. We should get some boys together for this game. Philly and the Chiefs. Little Super Bowl rematch on a Monday night. Philly plus 2.5. This has got to be a teaser to me. Tease this thing outside of a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like I know that Kansas City's very good. I will say, and I hate to say it, Kansas City's not as good without Taylor Swift in the crowd. Numbers don't lie.
Seems like it's
you
true.
and I are as analytical when it comes to sports as anybody that I know. They're a better team when she's there. That's just a fact.
Kelsey does more when she's there, man.
He does a lot more. He does like 40 some yards more. Like it's weird. To me in this one, you're looking at some trends. Philly obviously has been dominant. However, 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 against Kansas City. Also 1-4 straight up. Philly, they are 11-2 straight up on their last 13 on the road. It's going to be tough. Philly, they're a team that when all things are going right, things are as kosher as anybody in the NFL. But as soon as things seem to just kind of turn heel slightly, I don't know. It's a hard game to handicap. It's a very close game. It's one of those games where at 45 points, you can bet the over and just be like, yeah, I'm going to watch the game because it's not an unrealistic over. It opened at 50.5, so it's dropped significantly. But
keep this in mind. The Eagles have allowed like 2,300 yards passing this year. Their secondary is not good at all.
Well, their secondary is banged up, and they try to keep getting guys. They get Kevin Byard. I don't know if Byard is going to be active this week or not.
So I could see that Chiefs offense shredding that secondary. if we're looking at props, man, shit, I would probably have to maybe look into a Kelsey one for this game.
I don't hate Kelsey. Kelsey's going to be probably about as low price-wise as we've seen him all year, especially against Philly. But, yeah, I mean, in this game, you look at it, Philly is as good as anybody in the league. But Kansas City is 4-1 against the spread at home. They're 4-1 straight up. This is the game that we've been waiting for. I'm not probably confident enough to take either the teams on the regular line. Like I said, I would take Philly if you can get Philly out near 10 points, obviously outside of a touchdown. I mean, shit, even on a 6-point teaser, you move them to 8.5. 8.5 is a big number. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be our game of the week. It is going to be very, very fun. But that's going to wrap it up for our NFL preview of Week 11. Murphy, we got one more thing to do before we get out of here. I need to know your lead pipe lock, your favorite total, your favorite dog, and your favorite. We're going to start in the favorites. Who do you like this weekend?
My favorite is gonna have to go to, man. I'm gonna have to take what is it gonna? What are we just any favorite? Any favorite?
Any favorite?
I'm taking Miami to smash the Raiders.
What's the line in that?
I
think it was.
But if we want a closer line, I would take Baltimore over Cincinnati.
It's up to you. You can take either.
Let's go Baltimore Thursday night. I think they're gonna win it.
Baltimore minus 3.5. All right. So my favorite this week, I like Seattle. We talked about it. Seattle against the Rams -1. I think this is a beautiful spot for them. Personally, I think they are moving on. And I'm actually going to flip right over to my favorite dog because it immediately, holy shit, this is action football right now. 4th and 2, they just went negative about 30-some yards. Be interesting to see who gets credited that statistically. But anyways, my favorite dog is going to be the Bengals. I think the Bengals are about as live as they can be. I'm taking them off the ban list for this week. It's going to be about as interesting of a game on Thursday night as I can remember. But it's good to know that we both have action. Who's your favorite dog this week?
I'm taking the Vikings.
Love
for
it.
Sure. +2.5. I don't think the Broncos are as legit as their wins recently have shown. Like I said, Dobbs looks good. Broncos rush defense is tragic. I mean, Dobbs showed some promise on the ground too last game. That he had that crazy run. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty sweet.
He's athletic as they come.
So I mean, he could, have a couple big runs on the ground himself. So like Broncos, like I said, rush defense isn't that great. We all know that. They got hung 8 touchdowns between 2 running backs in one game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would probably take Minnesota either money line or spread.
Very nice. And total wise, I'm going to go Bucks Niners under 41.5. This is kind of my stinker of the week. Murphy, I hit 6 straight unders to start the NFL season on this show. It's where I'm going this week. I don't think that's a very good game. I think the points are going to be hard to come by. What is your total that you're looking at?
I'm looking at the Giants and the Commanders, 37 over, and both defenses aren't that great, and fucking Sam Howell can sling the rock, can also throw interceptions. I'm looking for a lot of mistakes, a lot of random bullshit to happen that leads to a bunch of random scores is what I'm looking at in that game. So
very nice. Very nice. That is going to put us to our lead pipe locks. Murphy, what is your favorite pick this weekend?
Favorite pick this weekend, bro? I'm going to have to go with the Gus Edwards rushing yards prop.
Love it. I'm going to give you my line. Let me get it quick. What did I end up getting there? Beginning of the show, so I already forgot. I think it was 43.5. It's a ridiculous line. Oh, not live bet. And perfect. So Gus Edwards, 43.5. What a line.
And I would say it's safe till about 48.5. It's where I would probably not bet it past.
Love it, love it, love it. Just double check and make sure that's right. Perfect. My lead pipe lock, we already talked about this, man. I'm on the Vikings. We're both on the Vikings. And for good reason. This is a rocket scientist. I tweeted it last week, man. This is a rocket scientist that never got a shot. A fair shot. He got shots, just not fair ones. You get drafted. I don't think it was ever thought when he got drafted by the Steelers that he was going to be Ben Roethlisberger's backup, or not backup, but his like heir apparent. It was his backup. Like that's all he was going to be. Obviously, he gets moved around. The funniest thing, Cleveland had him on their roster in training camp. Like the Cleveland Browns, who are now without a quarterback at 6-3, had Josh Dobbs.
Crazy.
And maybe this is going to make people understand that having a backup quarterback is about as necessary as a backup running back.
Yeah.
Because if you lose one, I mean, we watched last year, man. You look back at that NFC Championship game, and Brock Purdy goes out, and dude, that video of George Kittle going around the sideline being like, who's our quarterback? Who do we have? Well, we have somebody, right? It's like, no, dude, you don't have anybody. So yeah, to me, I'm on the Vikings. Anything else before we get up on out of here? We did a pretty good job, hour and 15 minutes or so.
No, I would say covered a lot. I appreciate you having me on here. I'll definitely be around whenever you ask me. NBA for sure.
Oh yeah.
Just hit me up, bro. I'll be down anytime.
Fuck yeah, man. I'm ready to rock and roll with that. Again, before you leave, make sure you download Lock Talk on the App Store. Officially the freest app on the App Store at $0.00. So make sure you hop on that and hop on the leaderboards as we will continue to do that. Big thank you to Murph for coming on this week. Love having another person to chat with. Otherwise, these things go like 30 minutes of me just talking to myself. So definitely appreciative of that, my brother.
Soon maybe I'll have some like socials or something. Maybe I'll make like a props Stradamus Insta page or some shit.
I told the man he's got to get back on social. He used to be, fun fact about Murphy, he used to be a full-time Brooklyn Nets Twitter troll when they're worth a shit. Team's not worth a shit, so he's obviously gone. So anyways, for Jake O'Kane, it's my boy Murph. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you like, subscribe. We are on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple, or not Apple. Fuck Apple. We are not on Apple. We are on Amazon, where we are ad-free, so you can listen to that ad-free at any time. Thank you so much for listening, Murphy. Thank you again. We will talk to everybody soon. Peace.
You have a good night.